Oh boy, it's been a heck of a while since I last talked about this. ECL. Today's video will be about the latest development of a CSGO league that they have started and run on the daily, European Community League. Quickly, the idea behind ECL is I got hired to play CSGO in terrible conditions, spinbots in matchmaking, smurfs, griefs, troll infested, and of course nothing would ever happen to them. There was no place for me to put the game and be sure I would have a correct experience, so I figured, well, hey, what the hell, I'll make one myself. And quickly realized it's not that simple. So I ended up partnering with Faceit to use their interface, and in exchange of a rev share, I can create my own platform through theirs. You can actually retrace a journey from conception to what it is today in this series, and honestly, the last update was like 2 years ago, and I don't know where to start. So many things have happened, so I figured we should first talk about where we are today, and then we'll talk about how we got there. I have actually a cool thing to show you, that is an actual ad, but like a properly made ad, and I'm kind of proud of the result. I worked with iShield, who is an actual beast, and with a lot of back and forth, we've got a real cool thing to show. So this is what I sent him to give him an idea of where I wanted to go. Matchmaking isn't the best place to play CSGO, so we came up with a solution. In matchmaking, you are facing these guys, and you are playing with those guys. Hello team. That's why ECL has been around for 2 years now. And this is what we've got after a month of work.
Aren't you tired of matchmaking? You know, the trolls, the griefers, the toxic players, and on top of that, you're facing this guy. And what about your team?
Hello team, how are you?
No, it is not. But look, if you love CSGO as much as we do, you should join ECL. And here's why. We've been around for 2 years now, and we've become the biggest league in Europe. The main idea is to filter the community. When joining ECL, your account gets verified, and if it's too recent or too weird, you won't be allowed in. So we get rid of Smurf accounts. With an efficient reporting system and more than 70 staff members to handle your reports, insults, provocations, bad behavior, all of that gets banned. Our admins will be online every day from 2 p.m. to midnight on Discord to help you with your games. And every month, there is more than 4,000 euros worth of skins to win. You could even qualify for FPL, if you're good enough. And all of that is waiting for you on ECL.gg.
Fun fact, he's doing those animations by using Wiimotes to capture the movement, and I find that kinda smart, and yes, that is Kuko's voice that you heard. There's a few major changes that happen, such as the fact that now everybody in every division has to join Discord during the matches. That way you can communicate better and provide a better environment. We have a bot that will put you automatically in the room with your teammates, and the live support is open every day at those times. And I must warn you, ECL is not for you if you play CSGO once a week. While there are divisions for every level, it is a controlled environment, and the bot won't allow you to play if you don't meet certain requirements. The idea being that you cannot come in there and with a Smurf account pretending you just discovered CS but happen to be very good. That's bullshit, okay? There's prizes to win in every week, so of course we have to filter the accounts, and those who play Legends in the highest division can qualify for FPLC. So now that we are up to the page, let's focus on how we got there. I'm not gonna lie, the direction of ECL and what it has become today is not what I first dreamed of. I had big plans and I could already see myself having a massive impact, creating something huge, maybe even becoming the biggest platform and going worldwide instead of only Europe. Yeah, but that was naive, of course. I've learned a lot on business, on management, and about people in general, bringing me to a few points. Number one, being a boss absolutely sucks. I'm not built to be a boss. I trust people will do the right thing, and when they don't, I tend to buy into their excuses and give them more time than what I should. It took me a while to get there. The live support is cut out in shifts, lasting a few hours each, so while the admins are logged in to respond in case there's a call from a player, if nothing happened, they're paid anyway and they are supposed to work on tickets. That's essentially a report from a player. So in that configuration, if everyone pulled their own weight, the system works and there's no overload on the next guy coming up in the next shift. And I had hired this one guy. I knew him for a few years, we had played a lot together, we had met in real life, I trusted him and I knew that he wasn't comfortable financially talking. So I offered him a place in ECL. I mean, it was not the most paying job, don't get me wrong, but still, it was something he could do from home and was supposed to work 20 hours a week. Eventually, tension started to build internally as the staff noticed he wasn't really working during the shifts. Tickets would stack every time he was on shift, and a few player calls weren't taken care of until 20-25 minutes, which of course in a CSGO game it means it's basically too late. It's what we do in ECL. If you have a problem and the support is open, you can come in there and the admin will come to help you. And usually when live support is open, the admin will respond within a minute. So 30 minutes once again. Not the best. He would show up late and basically had become unreliable. Players would report him, the staff would get frustrated, and this lasted for 3-4 months. And I know what you're gonna say, fire his ass. Yes, but it's not harder than you think. Of course, if I only look at it from a business perspective, it's obvious. But there's the human side. I know that guy for ages. He's not in a good spot in life, and if I fire him right now, I don't know what other jobs he could find, something he did tell me a couple times as well. Essentially, making that decision would mean I would be holding someone else's life in my hands. And as it turns out, I don't like that feeling. It should be a very simple decision, but that's only on paper. When you're in the spot of making that decision, it is something else. So I kept pushing back month after month, hoping we would get him back on track, until it became real impossible to continue, and it took me 10 months to get there. I had to push him out, so I paid him an extra month ahead and told him it was time for him to go. I felt like a piece of shit, and I know that I shouldn't, but like I said, I am not cut out to be a boss, and that was my first major lesson. There's also this other case where someone from the staff, that I'm gonna call Asimov, because obviously I don't want to tell anything about the name or anything, was causing a lot of internal issues. We're talking about a lot of dramas. Useless drama, of course. I was under meds for my back and thus out of work at the time, but he kept messaging me and did my best to help in whatever way I could, but eventually he quitted, and I was like, well, problem solved, I guess, no more drama, it's not a bad thing actually. A week later, Asimov comes back to me and told me he was moving out and found himself in need of money right now. He kindly asked if I could help in any way because he was in need. He offered to get paid upfront right now, and that once internet is set up in the new place, he was gonna work 40 hours, and then we would part ways like we were supposed to. So the deal was to pay him a month and a half ahead, so that once he's settled, he's gonna work for that amount. And you've seen it coming, right? So I message him, hey, it's been a week, how's it going? Oh hey, it's been 2 weeks now, any update? How's the new place? Hey, it's been 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months? Hello? Yep, I've never seen him since, and because those are freelancers, there's not much to do, the amount in question isn't even worth the extra effort anyway, and I am more upset about the principle than I am about the money. That I would go out of my way to help someone who was causing a lot of drama, who then quit, but I would still help him, and then I would get scammed, essentially. But it was a lesson. Bitter one, that is, but this is where I took the decision to separate feelings from business. At this point, I knew that if I didn't, it would happen again, and that I needed to question myself. I think it's a path that every entrepreneur goes through at some point, and it helped me to get there. Not that I'm gonna be thankful or anything, but it's a reality. It is the way I do things. I try, throw stuff on the wall, see what sticks, and move on based on the results. Then I'm gonna throw some more stuff and repeat. Number 2, the evolution of the product. ECL has been there for more than 3 years, and that fact alone is crazy. I had literally no idea where this was going when we first launched, and I had to build everything. The rules, designs, ideas, logos, prizes, sponsorships, the concept, all of it. And honestly, I was in way over my head. I would handle things better today thanks to that experience though. Like I said before, my first ambitions were massive for ECL, and that was pretty naive. I didn't know the kind of market I would be getting into, and being tied to face it has its perks, but also its downsides. ECL is a paid subscription service. That means every month we will naturally lose some people. On top of that, the promise of ECL is that if you have someone toxic in your game, we will ban him. So that is another loss of players. And many death threats from upset players directly to the staff or even myself. You would think that a Karen is gonna be a problem in real life, but it's actually 10 times worse online. They are anonymous after all. Or so they think. While we have been somewhat stable in terms of player base, the activity fluctuates based on different factors. COVID was actually a good thing for us in the sense that there was a lot more people at home, with a lot more time on their hands, and we've got a big boost in terms of activity. Now that things are getting better, we see it going back to normal, and the queue times aren't as good as I want them to be. Because we filter the player base so much, the challenge of ECL is to get things started every day. Naturally, the queue will die late night and we have to wait for the next day to see it alive again. But that causes a problem I didn't think of before. If there's no one else in the queue, then no one joins the queue, thus the queue stays empty, and because it is empty, no one wants to join it, and it becomes a vicious circle that makes it hard sometimes to get things started. Once at least one match is live, the players will queue to get onto the next one, and that is how things begin to pick up momentum. But the behavior of not joining it because no one else is there, it doesn't help us. This is something we are facing in the lowest division, the Division 3 right now, and besides pushing promotion, I'm not really sure how to shortcut that problem. Like, they don't grind for the prizes as much as the guys in the Legends division, so getting things started is slow sometimes, and I want to fix that. Besides that, I think we've really come a long way. We've simplified a lot of our processes, and there's a reason we are still here 3 years after. At the moment I'm writing this, if you report a player, the ticket will be handled within 24 hours and you will see the sanction applied. So you know that your report is useful, and how often does that happen on Matchmaking or even Faceit? It benefits everyone. The faster we handle the ticket, the faster we get rid or punish toxic players and the less games they can ruin. It has a real impact. It's happened a lot of times that a player would randomly join ECL without really knowing the rules or what is it we try to do here. He would behave like he usually would in Faceit Premium. Someone calls an admin who joins the room and tells him straight up, well, do that again, and you'll get banned for a week. That kind of regulation that can happen live during your game is pretty much only gonna happen in ECL, that I know of at least. Today's product has been fine-tuned throughout the years, and I think that given the limitations, we are close to doing the best we can. When I launched ECL, I was told that Faceit would help us from a technical point of view, but actually the guy I was in touch with wasn't really aware of what was and what wasn't possible in terms of technology. There's a lot of features that I wanted to have, but after months or years of asking, I've come to realize it's never gonna happen. As an example, it took us about a year just to be able to act on matches live, such as pausing the match or rehosting the match. This is why, if you played ECL at launch, we were unable to help you live during your games. Like, there's gonna be an admin online, but he can't do anything helping you live. It's kinda dumb. The problem, or blessing, depends on which side you are obviously, is that Faceit reached a mass adoption, and today every CS player that is playing a lot of CS knows what Faceit is, and a good portion of them play there. So Faceit grew a lot as a company, and their interests have shifted as well. There's going to be security concerns, and any kind of change they could do might impact us somehow. From a technical point of view, ECL is just an integration on Faceit, so we are kind of a leech for them. Let me explain it with one example. On ECL.gg, you have a player page. Each player has their own, and from the admin side, we use that to have the number of matches played shown here, so that when we handle the report, we have an overview of the situation. So the dev we were working with pushed this feature live, and out of the blue, Faceit had to shut us down. I was confused and really did not know what was going on. Why would they shut us down? My dev told me they did it without any reasons, and well, I can only believe him, not like I know anything about code. So I had to check with the Faceit devs what was going on, and they explained that the way we were scraping the data was hurting them. Here's a TLDR. This is a pipe, also called API. Since you can't access the servers directly for security reasons, there's a pipe between you and them, and you can ask this API for different information. In this case, the amount of matches played. One query is no problem. But when it is coded to do one query per player and refreshes every 5 minutes, and you have many players, you can very quickly send tens of thousands of queries to that API, and thus you are saturating the pipe for information you could have calculated differently. I felt kind of dumb, because once explained, I mean, it makes sense, and there's an easy way to do this. In this case, what we will do now is query the number of matches when the player registers, and then we will add +1 ourselves whenever they finish a match. We then store that info on our servers, and we don't need to spam the pipe. This is one example that is easy to explain, but that gives you an idea of the amount of small fixes to push every now and then to make sure we don't cause issues. That's what I meant by leech. It has become clear that a good portion of what I wanted for ECL will never be possible. It's a reality. Another example is we cannot change the match rooms. There is this useless call admin button that doesn't do anything besides confusing the new players. It's a feature that is there for Faceit Premium queue and leads to nowhere in ECL. But Faceit was never coded with the intent of allowing anyone to redesign the website, let alone for just a small portion of their users. Why would they? And in fact, why would anyone? There's no way for them to change it just for us, and if they do, then it's gonna be changed globally, including their own Faceit queues. so you know it's not the best. I wanted to have an in-game report system, plugins, stats, or even ECL logo on GoTV, but all of that is impossible, and that is what I meant by limitation. Working with them has a lot of perks, don't get me wrong. We don't have to handle servers, payment provider, interface hosting, and we can offer FPLC qualifiers slots. But it comes with a cost, that is technical limitations, rev share, and a sense that we are not a priority for them. Which again, don't get me wrong, makes sense. I'm just saying that it's a reality. I wouldn't call that a conflict of interest, but I was told that I would be getting more support than what I have today, and with all of that, there was a big gap between what I wanted to do and what I could do. So in the last 2 years, expanding ECL has mostly been a matter of trying to find a workaround and somehow making it work, and if it works, it's for the best. If it doesn't, then we have to not do it, basically. Today, ECL has become more of a family business. We hire 3 full-time and 2 part-time. And I got to hire my little brother, which I'm kind of proud of. If you remember the ad I showed you before, that portion is a bit outdated. We used to have 70 staff members, but those weren't hired. They would get access to ECL for free, and in exchange they would do a few tickets every now and then. We didn't specify any quotas. Essentially, they were moderators. They would do what they could with their time, and with 70 different people, I thought it would be enough. It wasn't. That model wasn't stable at all. The turnover was too high, and the amount of people not doing anything was also very high. But in this case, they weren't hired. They were only compensated for the tickets they would do, and those who would do many tickets would be paid a bit more. But in reality, nothing too big. So it's not like I would stand there and boss them around. Those guys weren't hired. And that is something I have changed when the Asimov, the person I mentioned before who did the poof, I'm gone with the money kind of trick, I decided to rethink entirely the way things were made. We kicked the inactive, and slowly but surely, instead of surrounding myself with too many people, I've made sure that we would invest into the right profiles. And today, I'm really glad I've made that decision. Things are stable, and the work environment is a lot better, healthier, and the staff we have right now does a real good job, considering they are getting death threats every day. That leads to another point, the scalability of ECL. The service we provide is unique. You can call an admin to your voice channel, solve issues, get help on your match, change server if you lag, and this is done by making sure that someone will be logged in to respond. And of course, I have to pay someone to be there. Same goes for the tickets. When you report someone, a staff member, we have to look into it, listen to the recording, check the GoTV, and make sure that they apply a fair sanction. Then the user who got banned will come in support and complain, and that's something the admins will have to deal with it once more. All of that takes time, company time, and of course the people are getting paid during that time. But it raises a question. Say that tomorrow ECL explodes and we get 10 times the players. That also means we're gonna have 10 times more support requests, 10 times more report, and thus if I want to provide the same service, I will have to hire 10 times more people. And that goes on to show that the main cost of ECL is human resources. I think that this is what makes us special today, and this is why ECL is still up and running. The human contact with an admin, the sense that if you behave like a dick, you will get sanctioned, and you will be held accountable if you ruin the experience of others. The next step for ECL will be to push a lot of promotion. I want to see Div 3 active again and increase what we already have in the other divisions. I would also really want to have a 5-stack queue, but that alone comes with all sorts of problems. How do you balance it? How will the queue times be? How do you prevent 5 level 10s to much lower levels? It won't be an easy one in any cases, but I still think it would be a wonderful thing. But to get there, I will have to push promotion of ECL anyway. And this is why you're probably going to see sponsored videos popping up on different YouTube channels. I'm also thinking of getting plenty of streamers on board, and I'll get the budget out of my own pocket, that is, unless they ask for 46,000 euros. I don't have that kind of money. Now that we have a proper setup, a proper staff, a proper system, I know that we can manage a bigger player base and we can potentially take it to the next level. And that will hopefully be a story to tell for the next episode. I appreciate doing this series. It's a fun time capsule that captures my intentions on the ECL project at different periods of time. Watching the other episodes also makes me realize how naive I was, or unexperienced rather. But this is where I'm going to leave you for this one. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to those videos, which I would only assume they are boring. But well, somehow some of you watch it. And I will see you in the next one, and of course, a poster check. Well, actually, I've been told I have to say posture, not poster, so posture check. There you go.